Sadness is something we all go through. But today, we're going to look at it through a really specific lens, the Quran's divine guidance on how to find real relief and build resilience. We're going to unpack not just why we feel this way, but the actual prophetic tools we've been given to navigate these tough times. So, let's get right into it.
All right, let's kick things off with this incredibly powerful verse from Prophet Jacob. This really sets the stage for everything we're about to discuss. The key here isn't to pretend you're not sad or to suppress it. No, it's about where you direct that complaint. You take it only to the one who can actually provide a solution.
You know that feeling, a kind of sadness that just eats you up from the inside, a grief so deep you can't even really put it into words for other people. And this is where that foundational Islamic principle clicks into place. When you feel like no one can truly understand, the ultimate solution is to turn your complaint, your grief, only to God.
Now, here's something really fascinating. The Quran doesn't just treat sadness as one big, monolithic feeling. It actually categorizes it, giving us a specific language to understand the different shades of what we're going through. Let's break down these three phases of sadness.
So the first one is called Asafa. This term comes up in the story of Prophet Musa, or Moses, and it describes a very specific cocktail of emotions. It's not just feeling down, it's a sadness that's all mixed up with anger and some really deep grief.
So, when does Asafa show up? Well, think about a time you got really bad grades you didn't expect, or a project you poured your heart into completely failed. It's something you just can't digest. First, you get angry about it, and then that anger slowly cools down into this heavy, lingering sadness. That right there, that's Asafa.
Okay, moving on to the second type. This one's called Alasa. And this is all about looking backwards, but with a really heavy heart. It's that specific pain that comes from regret, thinking about a missed chance or a mistake you made in the past.
And this is the kind of sadness that can really trap you, It gets you stuck in this loop, just replaying what could have been, what you should have done. But what's worse is that it makes you scared that those past failures are now going to poison your future.
And then, there's the third one. This is the most intense, the deepest form of sadness that's discussed. A wail. This isn't just sadness. This is a state of complete and utter despair.
And just listen to how it's described. It's incredibly powerful. It's called a deadly state of your mind. It's that feeling where you just feel finished, like you're cursed, like nothing you do will ever make things better. It's a truly dangerous place for your spirit to be.
Okay, so after identifying these really heavy, painful feelings, here's the most important part. Islam doesn't just point out the problem and leave you there. It acknowledges that these feelings are real, but it also gives us a clear path to healing. We're not meant to be stuck.
So what's the solution? Well, at its core, it's about reorienting yourself. It's all about turning back to Allah. And you do that through prayer, through remembering Him, and just actively, consciously working on building that personal connection with Him.
Okay, so that's the big idea. But how do we actually do that? What are the practical tools we can use when we're in the thick of it? Well, the source highlights 4 specific prayers, taught by the prophets themselves. Each one is a unique tool for healing.
All right, tool number 1. This prayer comes to us from Prophet Lut, and it's a really direct, really powerful plea for divine support.
And what's great is that this is a super specific tool for a very specific kind of problem. This is the one you turn to when your sadness is coming from the outside, when other people are bothering you, hurting you, or making you feel threatened. You're asking for strength against those negative forces.
Okay, now for the second prayer. This one's from Prophet Ayub, or Job, and it tackles a completely different kind of battle, the one that's raging inside your own head. You know those times when your own mind feels like it's turned against you? When Satan just keeps amplifying your past mistakes or blowing up your fears about the future until it's just torment? Yeah, this is the prayer for that. You're calling out the source of that mental anguish and asking for relief.
And we have another incredibly beautiful prayer from Prophet Ayub. This one is it's so profound. It manages to capture both the reality of our hardship and the certainty of hope, all in one breath.
This one is kind of like your go-to all-purpose prayer for when you're just feeling completely overwhelmed. It doesn't matter what the problem is. You state your reality, adversity has touched me, and then you immediately pivot to the solution, calling on God as the most merciful of the merciful.
And finally, we have a prayer from Prophet Musa that is just so beloved. It is the ultimate declaration of your complete and total need for God.
And you have to hear the story behind it. It's amazing.
Picture this. Prophet Moses is a fugitive. He's all alone. He has absolutely nothing. And in that moment of total vulnerability, he sits down and he makes this sincere plea to God, saying he is in desperate need of any good that God might send his way. And what happens right after? His entire situation is transformed. He's blessed with a family, a home, and security.
So what makes this prayer so incredibly powerful? It's that profound humility. It's you just laying it all out there before God and saying, I need you. I need whatever good you can send me. And that's why scholars so often recommend it for anyone who is seeking provision of any kind, whether it's a home, a job, or even a spouse.
All right, phew, we've gone through a lot, right? We've looked at the different types of sadness, and we've unpacked 4 really specific prayers from the prophets. So let's bring it all together now into a simple toolkit that you can actually use.
So here it is, all laid out for you. Think of this as your spiritual first aid kit. You've got the prayer, what situation it's best for, and exactly where to find it in the Quran. And remember, these aren't just words. They are divinely taught tools designed to help us build real, unshakable resilience in the face of all of life's sorrows.
And that brings us to the end. But look, this isn't just about learning some new information. It's really an invitation to take action. So, as we wrap up, just take a moment to reflect. Looking at this toolkit, which of these powerful prophetic prayers speaks to your heart right where you are today?